Hey, what's up, plant people? Dumb little garden back. Hey, check this out. Today I'm gonna be looking at this jade my neighbor gave me. You might have saw a video, watched a video of mine, older video that showed this before, and I trimmed it way back, or it was already trimmed way back, I should say, like this, and I saved it out of the garbage. I replanted it, and I'm going to be showing my what I'm going to be doing to trim it way back here because I've got to get rid of it. Here's some of my aeoniums next to it. I'm also going to trim these, separate them, put them in different pots. It's going to be a little bit of a project. So first thing I'm going to have to do is cut everything apart ridiculously, which is always fun. So I don't know how old this jade plant was of hers. She's got another one that's really, really pretty. The soil was rock hard, so that was possibly, just because it had never been changed or whatever for years and years she's had it. So I decided what to do is to chop this apart and make several smaller kind of jade plants out of it, maybe kind of like some bonsai style. You can kind of see all the little separate sticks already and how they should be chopped apart. There's still some left in it that I wasn't able to save. So I can't remember why I filmed the soil here, but I basically took it out. It was this chunks. When I first pulled it out of the original soil, it was really, really much larger. I got as much of the old soil off as I could or wanted to do, and just threw it some soil real quick, and it started rooting, doing pretty well. As you can see, all the new growth. And jades are super forgiving, so I'm not really worried about chopping them up. First thing you got to do is, of course, chop them up using your tools here. Get the old-fashioned, crappy serrated kitchen knife, a little hacksaw that you can get from like a hobby shop or a tool store or whatever. You could cut this stuff probably with a butter knife. It's really, really easy to cut. It's like sturdy, but also not sturdy. And then I just began by nipping off the small bits that I knew I wanted to kind of make like a mini bonsai forest. I've seen a lot of bonsai people do that. It's really fun. How they just use these little sticks, grow a few little roots, stick them in dirt, and then it becomes kind of like a miniature bonsai, which I always thought was really, really cute. Um, so as I'm going along here, this is kind of interesting. You're going to see some bugs here, so if you don't like it, there's a whole bunch of ants. We get the Argentine ants around here, and they're pretty harmless from what I remember. If this is Argentine, I think these are Argentine ants. But man, if they find a single crumb on your floor within literally minutes, they'll have a whole line going out the door. They're really crazy and hard to get rid of. Here's my aeonium. My neighbor gave me these. Here's some of my onions. The rest, if you watch my garden video, they'll be in the front of the house. And I wanted to separate these into and put them into some smaller pots. These are arboreums, which means tree aeoniums, because they do grow kind of like these big long tree kind of bodies. And I ended up getting two. I think I get two or three out of these. They were a little bit, the weird weight though, they were a little bit like awkward. So I had to end up using like rocks and stuff to kind of weigh them down for now until they root really well. They're super invincible like a jade though. You can kind of treat them like crap, and as long as you keep them water when they need water and give them sunlight and everything, or whatever light they prefer, because they do scald pretty easy, burn pretty easy. They do well. This is also my ponytail palm. I bought it a while ago. I can't remember what it says on the tag there. I might see it. And it had never been changed. The soil, as you can see, it's starting to really get root bound. I think it was growing out the bottom, but when I take it out, you'll see it's pretty spiral and crazy and stuff, which is pretty normal for a ponytail palm. They grow pretty, not aggressively, but they can get quite a few roots. They don't really mind being root bound from what I can tell. But this definitely needed to change. You can see the other roots are all the way down there. So first thing I do is I usually take like a chopstick, a wooden chopstick, because I've seen a lot of plant people do this. It's a pretty easy trick. And the chopstick, you just poke around in the dirt, and it loosens it up like this. And it's kind of satisfying too. It really is. Use the sharp end. So that way you're kind of more than likely avoiding the roots when you poke it in. You're not necessarily going to break as many roots, and you really can loosen it up pretty well this way. If you're doing something with a big caudex like a ponytail palm or something like that, though, as you get closer, you've got to be careful because you could poke right through that thing if you're kind of just going at it full steam. If you're not filming a video like me with one hand, then you're definitely like stab, stab, stab. That's why I wouldn't recommend doing it with like a kitchen knife. A lot of people do it. You can even just cut those roots right in half, and it would do just fine, honestly. So here we go, and it kind of shows you some of the length, and then they got spiraled around. I think end up showing you here in a minute how they really, it had that interesting thing where it was like a tunnel of roots that you could reach up into to the top of, and it, you know, they literally grow around the edges of the pot. They try to spread out. When they hit the edges of the pot, they just spin, they just go around in circles. What I end up doing anytime I find a plant like this is I end up trimming so much of the roots off. If it's a forgiving type plant like a ponytail, aeonium, something like that, that's really the plants I go after, are ones that you could really kind of beat the heck, and they still really bounce back. Like Codex is just like a baseball. This is more like a softball, really. Really cool plant. So this is what I ended up with. I ended up with that aeonium right there. Has not been planted. Was not planted at that time. I ended up planting it later after giving it some time. I think this is fast forward. I can't remember if this is right as I did it. I can't remember when I shot this later part, but I'll give an update as well. Every one of these pieces is growing lots of new growth. They're doing really well. Some of the pieces surprisingly seem to really want more sunlight, and some want less. The ponytail palm is doing honestly just the same as it. Oh, I hate saying honestly. I hate that, but anyway, it's doing really well. There's no real difference except it keeps growing. One of these little pieces though I accidentally kick over like all the time, so I feel bad. The aeoniums are doing great. Everybody's still settling in a bit. On that one you can see there I had to put a big old rock to kind of hold it down because it was really an awkward balance. But you end up with this really fun little collection of, turns from one jade plant and one bucket of aeoniums into a whole bunch of stuff. And each one of these jades is going to grow into just a big, you can see that one in the front, it was really doing well, just really growing tons of leaves. If you wanted to start trimming them early, to kind of shape it, that's fine. I'm not really into all that. I let them go just to do whatever, and then I just see what they do, and then I might cut it back a little bit, trim it back a little bit later. I absolutely love these plants. I love the feel of them. I love how they grow. They're just such a fun little plant. So if you ever get an overgrown jade, just chop it back. You have several smaller jades. So have a good one, everybody.